Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now guys, the Ikere-Madu saga in Nuremberg, Germany has taken on a new dimension with Deji Adeyanju putting a new spin on the narrative of what actually happened in Germany. So with that guys, I bring you this. IPOB's Germany incident confirms not sponsoring Nnamdi Kanu against Igbo presidency. So that's the headline, and it is attributed to Deji Adeyanju. So again, IPOB's Germany incident confirms not sponsoring Nnamdi Kanu against Igbo presidency. So that's the headline, and that comment is attributed to Deji Adeyanju. So now let's find out exactly why Deji is saying this. The convener of Concerned Nigerians, Deji Adeyanju, on Sunday reiterated his claim that the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, collected money from northerners to ensure an Igbo man never becomes Nigeria's president. Adeyanju said the incident on the Deputy Senate President Ikere-Madu by IPOB members in Germany was proof that Kanu and his group were being sponsored to compromise the Southeast. Senator Ikere-Madu was to give a keynote address at the second Igbo Annual Cultural Festival and Convention organized by Indigbo, Germany, in that city when a mob, which identified itself as members of IPOB, invaded the venue and had an altercation with the former Deputy Senate President. Reacting to the incident, Adeyanju, in a statement he signed, said, "For those defending the altercation with Ikere-Madu, all I can do is laugh. Don't complain tomorrow when others confront IPOB or Nnamdi Kanu. I have said severally that Kanu collected money from the government to compromise and ran away, and I maintain this argument. He is a businessman looking for where to collect. He is not driven by ideology or love for the Igbos. The incident on Ikere-Madu justifies the stand of those who have repeatedly said you can't trust the Igbos with power, and your guess is as good as mine. Those sponsoring Kanu from the north are those who want the Igbos perpetually divided, and those who don't want an Igbo man to ever be president of this country, which is what many of us have canvassed for over the years. At a time when many are saying it is time for the Igbos to rule in 2023, you find some clowns saying they don't believe in Nigeria and attack one of their own sons who honored their invitation. How best can we explain the conspiracy? When we ask them how they will achieve Biafra, all we get is insults. Is it by war or by osmosis? How will you amend the constitution to give way to secession? These are the questions Kanu and his gang of fraudsters can never answer. They are only doing the bidding of their paymaster. So now this is now the narrative that this Deji Adeyanju is introducing to the storyline of what happened in Nuremberg in Germany. So what this guy is saying essentially is that, look, this Nnamdi Kanu character is really a Fulani agent, and his job is really to sow the seeds of division within the Igbo race, so that the Igbo race cannot then clamor for the presidency in 2023. Because when you think about it, 2023 really should be the turn of the Igbos, because virtually everybody has had a turn at the presidency of Nigeria. So the Fulanis have always been there. We've had 2 terms of Obasanjo and all that. So now you would not think now that the Igbo would now say, now look, it's now our turn and we should now have a go. And there's no real credible argument that can go against that. So if the Igbos were united and presented a united front, and they decided to go after that 2023 as a mission, as a united front, then it will be very difficult for anybody to present a counter argument against that. This is effectively what this Deji Adeyanju is saying. What this Deji Adeyanju is now suggesting is that to counter that, though, to counter that Igbo ambition for the presidency, what the Fulanis, what the Northerners have done is they have bought this Nnamdi Kanu character, and then they've situated him within the Igbo experience to sow the seeds of division division amongst the people, so that there'll be all this infighting that is going on amongst them, so that when it then comes to the build up to 2023, they don't then have a united front to present a champion. Because look at it, if the Igbos are clamoring for Biafra, then they can't in the same breath then come up in 2023 to say they want to be president of Nigeria. You cannot be president of a country that you do not deem yourself belonging to. So if you are saying you are Biafra within a Nigerian state, then you cannot then say you want to be president of Nigeria. So what this Deji is then going on further to say is that, look, this is not smart thinking, because he, Deji, and myself too, I have to say, are all in agreement that the country needs an Igbo president, and this is what we all want. But the route to that Igbo presidency is certainly not the pathway that Nnamdi Kanu is towing. Because look at this Nnamdi Kanu narrative, for instance. Now he says he wants Biafra, so how is he going to achieve that Biafra? He cannot force that space out of the Nigerian space, because he doesn't have what it takes to do that. He cannot take it forcefully, and he cannot take it by law. So how is he intending to take it is the question, because obviously he doesn't have the forces to forcefully take Biafra out of the Nigerian space, and I don't think the Igbos are united enough to follow him, even if he wanted to do that anyway. So that's one position. And then the second position is he cannot do it legally, because the constitution of the country recognizes the country as indivisible. So the only way that he can achieve it is to be within the system. But he has already jettisoned the system, saying that he does not want to be part of the system because the system is corrupt against his people, and there's an implicit bias against the Igbos. So this is his own narrative. So it's a catch-22 situation that these people find themselves, and they eventually will always be in perpetual anger and frustration. This is really what is going to play out, because as this DJ has already described, and as I have also narrated, there's no way out of the situation that they find themselves. They can't forcefully take themselves out of Nigeria. That's never going to happen. We saw what happened with the Python dance. That's all it took to crumble that whole movement, to then make it like a guerrilla thing from outside of the country. So that we already saw that. So, and they are not even agitating for a forceful withdrawal from Nigeria anyway, because I've not yet found that in their narrative. So if they are not able to, and they are not saying that they are going to forcefully remove themselves from Nigeria, then how are they going to achieve that secession that they are after? How are they going to achieve that Biafra land that they are after? So if we say taking it by force is out of the question, then what other means is credible and available to them? This is really where the question is. So now the only other route that is credible and available to them is if they are able to work within the system to achieve their goals. And how are they going to be able to work within the system to achieve their goal? Well, really, ultimately, really, what they have to target is the presidency. So if they are able to get an Igbo man into the presidency, then the Igbo man can then help them to actualize their dreams. Because really, the Nigerian president is all powerful, and we are seeing that especially under this Buhari dispensation, and that's always been the case. The only president in Nigeria that never really fully flexed his power was Goodluck Jonathan, but the Nigerian presidency is all powerful. So if they are ever going to achieve anything of an Igbo dream, then the only route to that is really via the Nigerian presidency, or the only other route really is if we have this restructuring thing that we are all agitating for, and the country is split into sub-regions. So those are the two routes. But this route of IPOB and all this chanting and all this brouhaha and all this palaver is not really going to achieve anything. Yes, it will make a lot of noise and a lot of splash in the papers, and a lot of minor heroes will emerge out of little skirmishes, but it will change rather absolutely nothing, because we've been on this thing since Ojukwu. We're going back 60 years now that the Igbos have been on this Biafra narrative, and it's never really really gotten any currency for 60 years. So I don't then think now this thing that Nnamdi Kanu is doing is the panacea to their problem. But I'm not fully with Deji Adeyanju either, that this guy is a Fulani agent. I don't think he's a Fulani agent. No, I think he believes in what he's saying, this Nnamdi Kanu character, but I think he's an egomaniac who is driven more by his ego and his own sense of self-worth than anything else. That is my own personal reading of that fella. He's an egomaniac driven by his own sense of self-worth, and is feeding into the chants and the hoo-has that his people are feeding him, and is not pausing for a moment to reflect on a structured course of action. This is really my reading. So I am not fully with Deji Adeyanju in his write-up, but I am of that line of thought that, look, all this you can Nnamdi Kanu and all that, you can do all that. We all like a sing song. Have your sing songs and have your town hall meetings in New York and Germany or whatever, but it's not really impacting in any impactful way. And we're going to have the country carry on. We are going to have a Yoruba president in 2023 when we should have an Igbo president, and then that sense of marginalization will carry on, and then the agitation will carry on. So now, is it time for a rethink amongst the Igbo is the question. Is it now time for the Igbos to re-strategize and reconfigure their line of thought? This is the question being asked, and this question is being asked pretty much within the Nigerian space. So don't come for me on an ethnic line, because that's very easy, that, oh, you Yoruba man, and all the insults. So let's take all the insults that you're intending to throw at me as a given. We already know that the insult is the insult. I get plenty of it usually when I do this type of videos. So set the insults aside and look at the substance of what is being said, and then come share your thoughts with me in the comment section where conversations take place. But before you come share those thoughts with me in the comment section, click on the red subscribe button so it turns gray. Bell button notifies you every time I drop a new video. Then come share ideas with me in the comment section. So I'll leave you here, carry on with you in the comment section, but here I say peace.